Did you guys know that there is something called racism hotspot? So we all know that racism exists in all aspects of different countries in different parts of the world. And obviously a multicultural country as Australia is not immune to racism. But there are certain hotspots, specifically in certain places, when you're more likely at experiencing racism. A recent SBS article I was reading found that 76% of people have experienced racism. And in those 76% of people, two-thirds of those have experienced an instance where they have had an incident within a period of a month by experiencing racism at a certain location. And then you have the 12% that's just never experienced racism at all. And usually these people are people that lives in wealthy areas that has close proximity to whiteness and certain advantages that just obviously makes them, less likely to experience these difference in treatment. It is believed that the number is actually higher than that because there is likely a lot of people who do experience racism but never get to talk about it because they see themselves as a victim.
Late reaction, 50K to cousins, post the captions. I'm so glad people are now talking about the realities of living in Australia and highlighting the racism. Because I used to live in Melbourne and I'm from London, just like this creator, and I got tagged by a few people. And it was very ironic that I popped up on my For You page anyway, because I didn't really speak about my experience or vlog it online when I was living in Melbourne. I was kind of like in the moment. And don't get me wrong, whilst I had some good times, I also had some shit times. And let me tell you one thing, I have never ever lived or traveled to or experienced a country so racist before in my entire life. And before any bigoted Aussie comes on my video talking about if you don't like it, then leave, I have left. So shut up in advance, okay? You're not going to silence me or silence other people of colour talking about their experiences. And whilst a lot of people come online talking about how magical Australia is and making it seem like the roads are paved with gold and it's a magical land, I'm glad it works out for you, but it's not like that for other people in marginalised groups, okay? And especially the Indigenous peoples. Don't even get me started on how they treat the Aboriginals. Do not even get me started. Don't. Shit breaks my heart so bad. It's just, I've never seen anything like it before. I have never, I want people to educate themselves on the traditional landowners, the First Nations. Don't forget also, we've got the Torres Strait Islanders as well. Like, a lot of people are not aware of this outside Australia. That is literally built on the back of black people. And it's not even just the racism like towards black people, it's racism amongst other people of color and the xenophobia between like other white people from European countries, the misogyny, like, bro, like, it was, I had enough. I had enough. And like I said, people were coming here talking about their experiences and Asahiba going for a run at Bondi and all this Great Ocean Road stuff and how great it is. Good for you, but it's not the reality for everyone. And like I said, I had some good moments, I had some good times, but coming from London, a very diverse city, and don't get me wrong, every single country will have its issues, but you see there, down under, never seen anything like it before. Never.
Australia is super racist. Super racist. So, individual instance of how we might experience racism in Australia. Coming from a personal perspective, which I know for a fact that almost every other black person has dealt with to some degree. Personally, me, I've had my head put into the ground because cops were asking me for my details. I said to them, I don't want to give you my details. I haven't broken the law. What law have I broken? And you're being asked for your details every time that you enter a train station. Every time. Whether there's a lot of people or there's a little people. Whether there is a crowd of people or there is no people. They're coming to you. So you can imagine how I might be frustrated when someone is constantly asking for my details. And if you refuse and that cop seems to be having a bad day, oh yeah, he's going to wreck the rest of your night. For sure. He's going to lock you up, put you in a cell for like 3 or 4 hours and let you out because he was having a bad day. And that's how they think. And then they want to maintain control in the situation. If they think that you aren't being submissive enough, or they're going to get angrier. And they probably will get physical, you know? But I think that's more of a sign of the insecurity that you see that is just amongst all Australians in general, okay?
I'm not one to usually post about this shit, but 4 years in Australia, and the first time some people saying some racist bullshit. Sitting in South Melbourne, and some old man, I won't say what he is, but I think you can pretty much guess, begins to speak out loudly and say that he would deport all the Muslims and put a crescent on their chest. Thankfully, I didn't say anything because at the end of the day, it'll be me on the front page of the news with me attacking him or whatever. But luckily, there was two very kind older people that told the man he's being offensive and he should shut up. He proceeded to get angry and yell at them and then walk off. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I hope this is not something that's normal. First time ever being subjected to any sort of racism, and it sucks. I can't say it does suck. Hopefully it's not the norm, because two wrongs don't make a right.
If you use the phrase, the original Australians are the Aboriginals, then you're actually pushing a colonial narrative onto them, which is the word Australia, because that's a British invention. It's not an Aboriginal invention, right? The landmass wasn't called anything before the British got here.
Absolutely wrong. And let's talk about it. David, it must be exhausting arguing semantics. Let's just make this quick. Indigenous people of this land have 65,000 years of culture, the oldest living continuous culture in the world on this land. But the settlers, tried very hard to destroy and decimate, but they couldn't do that up until this day. Just like Europeans are indigenous to the European continent, that's their home. The First Nations people of this land, that's their home. That's the ancestral home that they've always been and reside on. And you're right, Australia was a settler colony, which then became a extension of the crown, which was then called Australia, which then created the identity of Australians. Are you still with me? But who is still here first in all of this? First Nations people of this land. And I know you want to push so hard for a gotcha moment. Please stop.